Happy Sunday, everyone. Hey, hi, Sister
Hello,
Sophia.
everybody.
Hi. Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this edition of Extraordinary Woman. We have a good show. Today, we're going to talk about how to avoid reincarnating on this earth. Now, a lot of people think that earth is a ghetto place, and in recent years, things have really been hard for all types of humans to live on this planet. So, we're going to delve into like different topics on how we can avoid coming back. There is a way, supposedly, how we can avoid coming back, and we will explore that. So I have my beautiful guest, Sister Sophia Lynn, with us. And oh, I just love her. She has a wealth. That's my mother's sister, and she has a wealth of knowledge on so many great esoteric topics, just as this. So, Sister Sophia, what are your ideas, or what are your thoughts about Earth's current conditions?
Well, current condition actually looks kind of bleak depending on how you look at it.
Hmm.
Um, we are in change and transition, and on a global, everywhere, everybody scale. It's not just the people. The planet itself is changing. Our solar system is changing. So, for the first time in humanity's history, um, we are facing a rollover of life in the way things are, the way we have lived, and the way we will be living in the future. And it's like I often refer to it and compare it to like having a baby. And since we have a lot of women on the show, they can relate to the fact of being in deep labor and and going through all of the trauma and the difficulty of having a baby. And then once the child is born, and we the immediate time after the child is born, they're checking them, make sure everything's okay, and then within minutes they're wrapping the baby up and handing them to mom. And everything shifts from chaos and confusion and fear and trauma to oohing and on and
Yeah.
welcoming this new little soul into the world. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're in deep labor as we are birthing the new world. And so it's scary, it's chaotic, it can be it looks dangerous,
Mhm.
for both mother and child. But the truth of the matter is, without this upheaval, things would not change. There are too many people still fighting it and resisting it and wanting to keep things the way they are as it is. So we are being forced through this process to step into a new world. And so for those of us in the process, most of us don't even realize we actually volunteered to come here and be part of
That's
this.
something that we are going to talk about, because
Yeah,
I
we
feel that
volunteered.
everybody is here to fulfill some type of soul mission. And sometimes, like like for me, for instance, I know for a fact that this probably will be my last cycle. Like I've made that determination. Hey, I don't know until the end, okay? But after I had a few, um, you know, visions of past lives, I said, "Oh, now I understand why I'm here now." Now I understand. Like everything makes so much freaking perfect sense as to why we are here, why I'm personally here now. So I feel that when people really tap into themselves, okay, they know that they're here to fill some type of soul's purpose. And they just have to figure out what that purpose is. So
And my one of my mentors, who I've learned alchemy from, I guess you can
mhm,
say, he always says, um, well, let me step back a minute.
mhm,
Back in the late 80s, around 1986, 87, somewhere around in there was a call from the universe that went out to humanity, basically saying, okay, this is the third time around the galaxy where you all are coming around to this place in the galaxy where transition can take place. We've done
right.
this. It happens about once every 25, 50,000, somewhere in there,
Oh
50,000
wow.
years. But we were coming up on this time again, and things weren't progressing along as hoped. Now, the last time we came around this time, supposedly of all the people on the planet, and there weren't nearly as many as there are now, but there were only 50 souls that had evolved enough to make the transition. And
Right.
then when the time came, because there were so few, the decision was made to go back around the galaxy again to give other souls a chance to grow. So when we came back around to this point again, and it was looking like, uh-oh, you guys are missing it again, but we can't keep doing this. This is the third time we've come to this point. What do you want to do? Do we blow it up and start over again? Or do you want to go for it? Because there was enough of a shift happening to
Hmm.
that if you really work at it and really look at, focus on it, and you guys, the masters, because that's when the ascended masters came from the last rotation, and they decided to stay on earth and to help humanity because they knew what was at stake. So
Right.
and the masters, Mother Mary, Moses, Jesus, Yeshua, whatever you want to call them, those were the masters who came into human lives, Buddha, Krishna, and decided to stay and try to help humanity make it this time. So back in the late 80s, there was something called the harmonic convergence.
Right.
And many of you were not around or weren't old enough to know what that was, what it was. But I was around. I was an adult at the time it was happening, but I didn't understand what it was. I just knew about it. Anyway, so this harmonic convergence was a call out from spirit into the planet, into humanity's souls, saying, well, it's a possibility that you guys could make it if you really, focus and really got to work. And we don't have a lot of time. So what do you want to do? Blow it up again, or do you want to go for it? And
Right.
those that were kind of waking up, and those who had already awakened, because we had a lot of new thought religion coming in, a lot of people were changing. My generation, the baby boomers, largest generation to ever come in and incarnate on Earth, were here, and we had already started changing the planet. We had started changing the planet by, fighting for civil rights, women's rights, children's rights, burning bras, trying to get equality. We started that way back around the time that I was born, which is, I was born in 51. And so through that and into the 60s, my generation and the generation just before us decided we don't want the world to be like it was. We're going to change.
Correct.
So we all decided as a collective, let's go for it. We think we
Yeah.
can do this. So the decision was made, okay, we're going to go for it. So instead of taking 300 more years to get to the point of ascension, we're going to condense it down and maybe 30 to 50 years. Well, 30 years ago, 40 years ago was about the time that the convergence took place. So here
Hmm.
we are now at the time where this ascension process is happening. And yes, we are in the middle of it. And yes, we're going to make it. But the process of giving birth to this new world is just like giving birth to a baby. It's difficult, it's scary, it's traumatic, it can have all kinds of things going sideways. But the truth of the matter is, we're going this time. We're making it through. There are enough souls waking up and desiring something better on the planet
They do.
to make it happen. We reached a critical, what do they call that point? The tipping point.
Hmm.
And even though some souls don't really know that they said, okay, let's do this, we want a better world and we're going to work for it. The fact that these wonderful new generations of children, the indigos, the crystal children, the star children, all of these children who've been born since in the 90s, were the indication, or even a little before that, they were the indication that the decision was made to go for it. So they
Right.
started being born, and now they're moving into their adulthood. They're the Gen Zers and the Millennials and the Gen Alphas and the Betas that are coming short, starting to be born. They
They are the most awakened
they are
generation
different.
ever. Like, I'm looking online, and a lot of them, first of all, had denounced religion.
Yeah,
And it's not because, of anything. It's just that they just feel that there is more to life than what people are telling them about
they
how to live and how to be. And they're reaching their own ascension and at a fast rate, too.
well, they were
I mean,
already
this is
born
cool.
ascended. That's the thing, and
Right,
they
you did
came
tell
in
me that
with the
before. They
knowledge.
were ascensions before. Yeah, they
Yeah,
were.
they came in with the knowledge and awareness. I mean, think about your grandmother's generation and how backward they seemed and how
Oh,
out of
wow,
touch and
yeah.
didn't, they were very simple in their way of looking at things. And then
Mhm.
we look at the millennials and the Gen Zers and the alphas, really, the alphas are the big shift. Um, but when we look at them coming in, they came in with the different chemical DNA makeup to where all the
Mm.
materialistic, um, centered desires and control and power place, that stuff doesn't
It doesn't
interest them
phase them.
because
They don't
that's
care
not who
about the
they are.
materials. Yeah.
They were
I'm
born
seeing that.
they're
I
born for
remember
the
when
new
I
world that we are creating, and they had to be coming in with a different mindset, a
mhm,
different vibrational frequency, and we were the stewards, my generation and your generation, we were the stewards that were to bring them in and allow them to become who they were supposed to be, because now they're
right,
becoming adults getting ready to take over the new world.
right.
So what we're looking at is, finally realizing that instead of trying to control and corral them, we need to open up and start embracing them, because my generation is headed out. Yours is not far behind me,
Mhm.
and we are this world is no longer here for us, and we need to wake up spiritually enough to realize it's time to get ready to hand over the world to this new generation of children who are going to take the world into this new place of consciousness and love and awareness, and the lack of materialism is going to be what makes it better for them, because there
Mhm.
won't be so much need for control and people, trying to take, and countries invading other countries and stealing, and I mean all of that is going away with my generation and yours as we move forward.
Yeah, there won't be anything for them to hold on to. I know in my generation, especially, the women of my generation, when I'm like thinking about okay, the women before me, I would say it really was a materialistic world. I'm talking about the 80s. Everything was all about, getting, buying, consuming. And you know
Mhm.
what's so strange, sis? I just watched that movie, They Live. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that movie.
Yeah, that
With
was with
Keith David
those
and,
other
and
children
Downey.
being born. Yeah, other children being born, and they were kind of weird.
No, mm-mm. It was about this down on his luck. I think his name was Roddy Piper. He was a former wrestler, okay, but he was a down on his luck white man. He went into some type of inner city, and he was looking for work, and he came across this black guy who his name was Keith David. I love Keith David. He's so fine. But anywho, he came across Keith David's character, and they formed a friendship. But they were homeless, even though they were working on a construction site. These two men were homeless, and they were living in a homeless encampment. And
Hmm.
while they were there, across the street was this church, and supposedly this church was helping the homeless people at this encampment. But Roddy Piper's character went across to the church just to see what they were doing. And he came across like this underground type of, I don't know, the preacher was trying to warn people about consumerism and how this world was trying to control their minds and things like that. And so, anywho, he came across some special glasses, and when he put the glasses on, it changed his outlook of the world. He saw, instead of a regular advertisement, he saw the word consume. And he looked over here and he
I think I
sees
have seen
another
that
word that
movie.
says create or procreate. And so he realized that humankind was being programmed,
I think I did
and the
see that
glasses
years
broke that
ago.
programming. Yeah, and then he was able to see who was not ill, who was not human on earth, and who was
Yeah,
an alien through those glasses. I implore the young people to go see that video or that movie. It's out on YouTube right now, and I'm actually happy it's there because at one point they took it down, but they put it back up. It's a really, really good movie on how we are subliminally programmed to consume, to just procreate, to not ask questions, to one of the words up there was submit. And I
hmm,
know submission is like this big word right now, especially in relationships. So it's just a really good movie.
yeah. There's a lot of movies that have come out since the 50s
Hmm.
and the 60s that what we call the disclosure movies.
Right.
Because they're in the form of entertainment, we don't
Yes,
understand the
Stephanie.
messages within them.
Hmm.
Even on Facebook, there have been some people that there are, photographs, images that have been made that look like one thing, but the
Hmm.
colors and the shapes in the bodies or the images on the picture are broadcasting a different message. Um, and yeah, and it's like there's one that has the face of Jesus on it, and the message behind it, if you kind of squint your eyes and look at it, there's a negative message in the image itself. And there's another one that shows like 4 or 5 young women walking, holding hands like sisters, and when you squint your eyes, the image of what the colors on their clothes says, like something like submit, or you're not worthy, or something like that. And if you don't know how to look at the picture, you'll never see the subliminal imminent images. They're in
Mhm.
the movies, they're in the commercials, they're in the music.
It's
It's everywhere.
everywhere.
It's everywhere. But
Especially in movies, like a
yeah,
simple
because people
color.
don't know it's there, they don't see it
Yeah, they
consciously.
don't see it.
They don't realize that it's programming them.
Even a simple color in a movie, like for instance, a red door or
Yeah.
something like that. It all symbolizes something, a deeper meaning. And like me, my esoteric ass, I love breaking down the esoteric meanings in movies.
Me
I'm
too.
like, oh,
Me
like
too.
once I recognize it, I'm like, oh, see, people don't understand. That's Baphomet, meaning, oh, as so above is below and things like that. And it's just amazing. It's amazing. And some people will deem that as demonic, but really it's not demonic. It is people actually putting codes so they can program your mind on a lower level. That's
Well,
it.
it is demonic in that it takes you down to a lower level of vibrational frequency, and that's the
Only if it
problem.
does.
But it
Only if
does
it
if
does,
you
because
don't
it's some.
know.
Mhm,
It's not any one particular image. It's the combination of all of them. Because not only are we seeing it in pictures and movies, we're
mhm,
hearing it in music, in
right.
commercials. We're seeing it, and I swear, Facebook has become one of the worst places. I got put in Facebook jail a few weeks ago, and
Oh
they still
Lord.
haven't let me out because I don't get notices from Facebook anymore about when somebody posts on my page or my groups or anything. And I
Oh,
own the groups. I don't get any emails from Facebook anymore. And
oh
my
wow.
notifications are on, but I have to physically remind myself to go check to see what's going on.
Mhm.
Ever since I made that statement about what's happening with women, I literally came out and said women were an endangered species, and boop, they
Oh,
cut
they
me off.
are.
They, I know that it's something about what I said triggered a bot, and that's been 2 months ago, and they have not let me back in yet.
Yeah. Hey,
So I
Lala.
knew that I hit a nerve. But what I've noticed about Facebook, I used to get on in the morning especially when I was working at the university, and I'd spend a couple of hours looking at posts, posting stuff, doing email, messages and things. Um, and I would notice that after spending a couple of hours on Facebook, my energy would drain. I would
Oh
feel
yeah.
when
It's
I
an
got through,
energy
I feel
drainer. It
distracted
definitely is.
or drinks. So since they shut me down, kind of, and I've been working so hard to rebuild my business. I don't spend nearly as much time on
Mhm.
Facebook, and now I basically only go on in the afternoon because I'm busy with other things. And I noticed that my creative energy is higher,
Mhm.
and so there's something about Facebook, especially when you look at the reels, they're all about floods and devastation and stuff falling
All
down and
part of
fires
programming.
and everything. It's become a cesspool of negativity that is designed to keep you distracted and to keep you focused on the negativity so you can't possibly think about the good things or decide to be in a higher vibrational frequency because it's so heavy. And
Yeah.
I think it's one of the worst platforms as opposed, I thought TikTok was bad,
Mhm.
but Facebook is bad in a different way.
Yeah.
But the
Please
whole
give us a
point,
call, y'all. Call in 347-620-6771. Again, 347-620-6771. We would like to hear from you, your comments. Sister Sophia, I don't mean to cut you off, but we do have some comments here. Miss Lala, how
oh,
you
okay.
doing, girl? She said, I've learned to step away. You have to as well,
Yeah,
which is true.
yeah.
It sucks your energy. She is absolutely correct. It does suck your energy. Even this morning, like I made a vow to myself personally to stay off Facebook and also other social media platforms if it's not really serving the purpose. But
Mhm.
this morning I found myself doom scrolling. That's what I call it because you're doomed.
Oh, God.
Once you go to one little meme or one little video, next thing you know, you went through 25 of them suckers,
And
and
that's the
they're like a
point.
minute a piece, and like
Yeah, they
you're wasting time.
They do it intentionally, and they even take good information and blend it in with some of the negative stuff. You
They
know, they
do.
call them reels. But the truth of the matter is, if you get somebody giving out a good message, they get the first 90 minutes, and then the next video is either something selling you something or about something about a disaster. So,
Correct.
and we have been slowly programmed into that so that once you get into scrolling, which is what happens, before you know it, an hour, 2 hours has passed, and you haven't really done anything except look at all this negativity and wonder why you can't sleep at night or you can't think straight. And what that does is it lowers your vibrational frequency, which kind of leads into what our topic is today about not reincarnating back here, because everything is energy. And you hear me say that over and over and
But it's
over.
true. We are
And
nothing
it
but
is. Everything
energy
is
fields.
energy
That's it.
on one level or another. That's all that is. The
That's it.
universe is made out of energy, and we are too. And because of that, and I was watching a video yesterday that explained it just so beautifully. It was about the fractal universe and how that works and what it's all about, and how we all live and are part of the God presence in the mind of God, and the God energy that is being fed to each one of us through our own little personal cords is the substance, the life force that
Yeah.
sustains us. But physically, we have decided as souls, when we come into earth, I want to go down into the earth region, and earth has, we're the densities, the
Yeah,
dimensions,
there's different densities
earth
of
one
earth.
through six.
Yeah. The
That's the
higher you get
levels of
up,
earth.
you're the lighter the density.
Yeah, and
We're
so
at
when
the
we,
lowest level right now because we're in a
one of the lowest
mundane
levels,
world. Yeah,
we're
Lala
the
said
lowest
one
level
time
is
is
the
enough for
mineral
this planet,
kingdom.
please. Girl, listen, we're gonna just in a second, we're gonna get into how we really cannot come back. And Lala, you say one time you may have been here a few times and just don't know it, you know?
She's been here more than a few times.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? Also, there are new people on the earth too. There are people who are very new. I mean, and they cycled the earth maybe one or two times, whatever, in the past, but they are new to this earth. Guys, again, give us a call if you'd like to make a comment or share your thoughts. But we are talking about how to not come back to Earth. People think Earth is a ghetto. I think Earth is beautiful. Now, at this point in my life, I do see the beauty in this planet. I'm so happy that I was able in this juncture of my life to move out into nature so that I can really experience, and also that I'm allowed to move out in nature, because at one point I didn't I thought I was going to live in a concrete jungle for the rest of my life. But when I started to really create the life that I wanted, I said, I'm deciding to do life the way I see fit. Things got better. And also, it's because I started having, again, past life regressions, and I started to realize I was here before. And I know now what to do in order to not come back here, and also to live my best life while I'm here in the presence. So, Sister Sophia, I wanted to tell you, I think a lot of people, you know how some people, they die instantly, boom, and they're taken off this earth. Do you think that they come back because they feel like, damn, I didn't get to complete X, Y, and Z? Or, damn, my children, damn, like something they did not complete was, or was left unfinished. That's why they're
Yes
coming
and
back.
no. Yes and no.
Mhm.
Um, we've all, excuse me, we've all been here many, many times before. Earth is ancient. It's older than we think it is, and so are the humans on this planet.
Mhm.
There, according to scientists, they say there have been four other civilizations before us.
Oh yeah.
Over hundreds, millions of years.
There's some
Um,
some of
and
the
so
civilizations are under the sea.
and some of
There's
them
whole big ass cities
were
under
more
the sea.
advanced than we are. So
Yeah.
I wanted to address the comment you make about people say Earth is a ghetto.
Mhm.
Yeah, in some places, but there are other places where Earth is heavenly, right
Paradise.
now
Yeah.
in this moment.
Yeah.
Um, we Because of the environment we are in, and because for most of us, especially people of color,
Hmm.
because of the conditions we've had to live under, we do tend to see the earth in the heaviest, darkest, most difficult form.
Yeah.
But there are many people, many that live right here in our country and all over the world, who see a different earth. They're experiencing a different earth. And as we move forward, the children that are being born into this world, because they don't like and won't want the same things that we've bought into, will create and experience a different earth. So the saying, "It is done unto you as you believe," is
Hmm.
really all there is. If you can really get into what that means, you begin to understand even about reincarnating back on earth. It's all about your consciousness and the vibrational frequency. Think about when you go someplace and you say, "Ooh, that place has bad vibes," or "a person has bad vibes." You're picking up their vibrational frequency, and you're picking up the frequency of that location. Maybe something happened there.
Correct.
It's all about how you are perceiving the energy around you. Ever wondered why some celebrities who maybe were born in difficult locations or environments, they make a lot of money. What are the first things they do is move to a better neighborhood. They change their friends. They get into a different environment where the vibrational frequency is better. Many of them are coached and encouraged. Get out of the hood, get out of the neighborhood, get out away from these people. We even teach people to get away from abusive relationships and family situations, because it brings you down and keeps you from moving forward. So when we think about Earth being a ghetto, it's basically because of the environment we've been in or are in. And so we can't perceive life on earth as being anything but. For some people in some countries, it's even worse than it is here.
Hmm.
So, we're not there yet as far as having a planet where we are experiencing more of what you would call heaven on earth. But there are a lot of people that are. I see pictures of, especially, other countries and other, cities and places in Europe and even in Asia, where they
Hmm.
live in absolute beautiful environments and in peaceful environments that look like things out of a fairy tale or storybook. And they're
Right.
right here on
Yeah.
the planet, right here with us right now. And
Right.
they're not having the same experience that a lot of us here in America are having. And there are people right here in America that live in environments and neighborhoods or what have you, where they are not experiencing the drama, trauma, and hardship that people are of a lower, say, class or lower environment are experiencing. So when you change your mind, your energy, the vibrational frequency of your consciousness, to say, "This is not enough for me, this is not good enough," your life will change, because your mind will create an environment that matches what it's radiating. It has
Yeah.
to
The
happen because
frequency is
that's the principle
radiating.
of the universe.
Absolutely.
Whatever you create and think about in your mind is what you're going to experience. And it takes a lot sometimes to change it, but when you can do that, your life changes, and it can change kind of rapidly depending on
Hmm.
who you are. Now, as far as the reincarnation is concerned, that's the crux of whether or not you're going to come back here into this planet again, or if you come into another version of this planet. Remember,
Well, I think that that's the whole point, is that some people do come back into different versions of the planet. I think that everything is a remember we talked about a choice. Everything in life is a choice. I
mhm,
also think our spirits have a choice too, whether
mhm,
or not we would like to return. Some spirits do return to make the planet better. Some spirits do return because they like the, whatever they experienced on earth. Some spirits do return because they need to make something right back on earth that they didn't, whatever the case may be. Some people consider it karma, and some people are saying that it's not karma. Like, for instance, if you were a bad soul on this earth, they feel like you're going to reincarnate back into an ant or something very insignificant. And I personally, I don't believe that for some odd reason. I just don't. I I really feel that you have a choice as to how you want to come back and what you want to come back as. Almost as if I'm not saying that you can order your life before you come back to life, because I certainly would not have ordered this life that I had just child when I was a baby. Anywho,
Well, you don't know.
um,
It
but
depends on that soul's purpose and the intention of what the lesson or experience it needed to have. And sometimes we are playing roles to serve a loved one's experiencing. It's not just us.
and that's another thing. Yeah, I was going to say, when we fulfill our soul's purpose, I think at that point we're kind of free from earth and we have the choice to go from, where we want to go. I think ultimately our position here on earth is self-love. And that's something that a lot of people take away from us. They tell us not to love ourselves.
Well,
They,
that's the
yeah, I
controlling.
really think that our soul's
That was
mission
an intentional
ultimately is
ploy
for
to
self-love.
control us and to
You're right,
keep us
right.
in
Build us
a
to be controlled.
servitude mindset.
Right. So,
Yeah, and
and that's
so
another thing. That's why I think that people do come back to try to correct things, to try to, make things better for their own soul's purpose. Because some people also think that Earth is just one big as um plantation. Everybody's enslaved to something. And that's another thing that I was thinking about. And what I believe personally is that when you've released any of the temptations or anything that binds you to this planet, when you're able to release it, okay, whether it's drugs, too much sex, overeating, drinking, whatever the case may be, whatever vice that binds you here, it will help your soul to release, and this way you don't return at all. You
well,
just have to release the ego. And those vices are tied to the ego, but you have to release it. Once you release it,
well,
you're
see, it's so much going. I mean, we could talk for all afternoon, to try to kind of drill down the rabbit hole to cover all of the variables. But remember, each soul it creates and designs its own purpose and reason for being here before
it's
we
true.
incarnate. We have soul families, soul groups that are beyond the physical experiences that we're having. And so sometimes we come together, yes, to work out experiences and karma from something else. But
Mhm.
because time is not linear, except here in 3D Earth, we could be having an experience from something that happened in a different place in time, maybe even in a different universe, with a version of us and a version of an Earth that serves the purpose that we don't even remember or not conscious
Right.
ever
Which
happened.
is why
So
we don't remember when we incarnate here.
but it's just not as simple as, okay, if I clear up my act and I don't drink or smoke or do all these things in this lifetime, that I'm free now. Yes, but maybe not, because maybe there's something else that your soul on a higher level says, okay, well, you serve the purpose of this life experiencing, but now there's something else that you want to do, because it's all about balance as well. And sometimes
Oh,
you don't do anything wrong, but your soul decides, well, I was in perfect physical health while I was in that incarnation, but to balance out my soul's experiencing, I need to find out what it's like to not be so healthy, because that gives me both sides of the coin.
correct.
And so
I,
you come back in for that experiencing, and it may be here, but it may be somewhere else. But
oh, you
remember,
really think it'll be like somewhere on a different,
a different
a
version of
different
Earth or
earth.
another
Okay.
planet, because I was watching a video this morning and they were talking about the numbers of planets that there are in just our universe. This is not including the multiverse,
Mm-hmm.
but just our universe. They're talking about something like 74 trillion planets, not just
Whew.
suns, planets. And out of 74 trillion planets, and that's in the known universe,
Right.
there's trillions of planets that have life on it, on one form or another, especially when you think about the time. So it definitely goes much much more than our little brains here on earth can conceive and be aware of, because
Yeah.
we're just seeing, not even the tip of the pin of possibilities. And science and quantum science has gone so far as seeing how life timelines and energy life lines flow and bleep in and bleep out and seemingly start and stop without necessarily being connected, it's hard to even define what a lifetime really is. It's encoded in our DNA, but we also know that here on Earth, our DNA has been messed with several times. So it's
Hmm.
not even intact in the way that it was maybe originally intended. Um,
Right.
but when we think about a soul coming in, a soul creates a plan and a program based on energy vibrational frequency, and then finds two parents, two people that are coming together in a life in a way that gives that soul a chance to come in where the conditions will be right to serve that soul's purpose. Whether
Correct.
it's to have two parents or one parent or be homeless or be wealthy or whatever the case may be, the conditions it chooses from the parents it chooses will serve the purpose of giving it a chance to experience whatever that is. But
Hmm.
we are not confined to the conditions. There are some people who are born dirt poor and they work into a life of very big, huge riches. Not all wealthy people were born into moneyed families. A lot of
Correct.
people are self-made. And then you get people who are born into wealthy families and their lives turn into hell because of the way they think and the way that they act in their lives, and they could end up on the streets homeless, and you never know that they're came from a wealthy family because of the choices they made. So when we think about reincarnating, there's so much to consider that we don't know. um, One of the things that I kind of think is a good indication as to whether or not you will reincarnate again, excuse me, is your DNA connection. I think that may have a greater, it's not just a matter of you deciding, I don't want to go back there no more. But I think it has a lot to do with your DNA as well, because your DNA it carries the coding and the programming of who you're going to be physically, which is the attraction to who your soul chooses to come in and be. I mean, these are basically avatars. They're
Hmm.
just flesh
Hmm.
and bone. The soul within is the real being. So, like for instance, I don't have a DNA line that's continuing. My youngest child is in her middle 50s and she doesn't have any kids. And
Hmm.
my son is dead. He didn't have any kids. So when I look at my DNA line, my direct DNA line, it ends with my daughter.
Hmm.
So for me, as I've chosen, and because of the work I've done, and the Spirit has told me I've cleared up so much karma that I don't have a karmic responsibility anymore. I can choose to come back if I want to, but
Right.
the thing is, uh, there is no DNA connection to draw me back in unless I choose a different lineage and come in a different way. So if you have a DNA connection, and especially if there are younger children that are still being born, that's a way in for a person to come back should they choose. But I really think that because of where we are right now, the karmic wheel is being dismantled. So it's not like you have to come back even if you don't want to. It's
Hmm.
going to be a matter of choice.
Right. And I agree with that. I agree with that. Let
So,
me ask
and
you
there's
this.
so many planets out there for you to do your karmic healing and work and clearing and experiencing. Coming back to this earth, it doesn't have to be that way. And I keep wanting to make sure that you all understand that this version of Earth is not going to be anymore. We're changing it. It's changing as we
It's
speak.
changing. Yeah.
It's changing, and so from what Spirit has said, this version of Earth, because it was not supposed to be this way. It was supposed to be a garden planet. It was supposed to be beautiful, a place. That's why it's so far out in the remote part of this galaxy. It was supposed to be in a place that was kind of isolated, that allowed the human beings on this planet to evolve in a different way. But because of other civilizations that found the planet, that came here, that did certain things, it was kind of decided that it was going to become a slave planet, and it has been for eons.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because of the fact that we are now in a place where we get to choose as a collective to change it, many of the things that we've experienced and that we are seeing that we don't like are going to be dissolving. We see it right now as hopeless, inevitable. This is getting worse. It's going to be the worst ever. It's it's going to change.
It
That's
looks
not,
like that way
and
because things
we may
are
not even get to see
better.
it, but our kids will.
Yeah. So yeah, and back to the children, I do see them ready for the change. These babies are ready. Their mentals are different. They they are understanding of who they are too a
Mhm.
lot and I'm shocked because we're always told, we're programmed, like in our generation, we're programmed to think we are who we are, and that's not true. These babies are being born knowing who they are, and that's the beauty part.
And
Yeah.
they're not accepting our dogma and our
Yeah, that's another
programming.
thing. Yeah, they're getting
They
rid of
don't,
all that
because
dogma.
it doesn't make
They don't
sense to
believe
them.
it. They feel like it
Yeah,
doesn't serve
it
them.
makes no sense to them, and I'm so glad, because that means they're not controllable,
Exactly. And I was going to
because
say
they
one
don't
thing
buy
I like
into it
that
like
they're
we did.
doing, this whole slave planet shit, they're trying to dismantle that. They don't want to be a slave to anything,
And
not
they're not.
debt, education, or anything, a slave to anything here. We're the only species that come to this planet to pay to live. That makes no sense. We're the only ones who pay to live.
Well,
We pay to eat when food should be bountiful here.
it's because of the design that we've lived under for eons, tens of thousands of years. There are 100 families, I think that they say, is a term. I thought it was 12, but they say no, there's 100 families that pretty much control the planet and
Mhm.
the people on it. And over the centuries,
Oh, yes, we need to get into that. But go
yeah,
ahead.
for
Yeah,
centuries, they have manipulated, stolen, killed, bought into, done all kinds of things to
yeah.
sure that they stay dominant and in control. And in order to do that, they have to invade countries and destroy some cultures and all of that. And they've been willing to do that for the acquisition and accumulation of wealth and power. But because the energy of the planet and the children that are being born in no longer support that structure, I
Mhm.
mean, when you think about it, if we, as a group of human beings, the vast majority of us, decided at one point, we're not going to do what you want us to do anymore. We're going to start planting our own gardens, making our own food. We're building our own houses. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. The businesses that are around decided we're not going to buy into the fiat system anymore. We're going to do this, that, and the other. As a collective, if we were to change the way we want to live, those families, those huge corporations would go bankrupt because there's nobody to work their fields, nobody to buy into their BS, and they would not be able to have the control and power. They would collapse under their own weight. But
Mhm.
most people are not ready to take that stand because it would not be easy. There would still be a lot of like what's Trump is doing now with sending in the militia to, crush cities and what have you to try to keep them under control. But
Mhm.
because our children are growing into the controlling generation now, the millennials are in their 30s, they're getting old enough to become the legislatures, the leaders, the presidents, the decision makers on the planet. As
Mhm.
they grow up and say no to a lot of these structures and start to change them, the old guard, which is getting older and dying out, is going to go away.
Correct.
My generation, pretty much, you figure we got 20 more years basically of being on this planet. And a lot of that 20 years is not going to be us in control. It'll be just us here as seniors dying out.
Right.
And so your generation coming along behind me, um, is moving into the main part of your lives. But 20 years from now, you guys will be in your 70s, 60s and
Exactly.
70s. And so the ones in their 30s who are coming along behind you will be the ones in control. 20 years from now, this whole planet is going to look different
It
because the
is.
millennials will be the decision making generation. They'll be the ones in their 50s and 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s that are making decisions and running the country. So that's what, when I say this is going to change, when they come into power, the planet will change
Yeah.
because they're the ones making the new rules and decisions.
So back to that little comment you made about generations of people who control the earth. Do you think that there are families like the Rockefellers, for instance, who incarnate continuously through their bloodline in order to keep a certain level of power over earth? Now,
Mhm.
and do you think this is the reason why they inbreed?
Yes. When we talked about, you hear phrases like the blue bloods, or
Yeah,
for centuries the royal families did not allow their children to marry outside of the bloodline.
correct.
It was because their lineage goes back to, way back to the Anunnaki and some of the other, even beyond that. I understand that Egypt, being one of the oldest civilizations on the planet, has
Mhm,
gone through several iterations of pharaohs and dynasties and what have you.
correct.
And their lineage can go back tens of thousands of years before the flood and what have you. And so, from what I understand, many of the leaders, in fact, they say that of all the presidents on the earth, they are all distant cousins, because they are descendants of some of these ancient families that came out of Egypt way back when and migrated through Europe and through Asia, whatever. Um, and that they were the ones that closed ranks and decided that in order for our lineage to stay pure, you can't marry outside the family, or
Mhm.
you can only marry another blue blood family. So the royals would marry royals, and even with the Asian families, they stayed within their own race. They didn't even marry between the Europeans and families like that.
Yeah.
Um, there's during one they said one teenage girl started tracing the genealogy of the presidents and found out they're all cousins. Every president that's ever been elected, including
They
Obama,
are.
is a cousin, a
Yeah.
distant cousin. So the presidents, the candidates that gets elected, are part of the lineage. Even if there may have been some other bloodlines introduced along the way, they're
Mhm.
part of that lineage of the original families that came out of Egypt thousands, tens of thousands of years ago, and who've migrated through Europe and what have you. And so these 100 families that are spread across the world have protected their bloodline and made it so that the only way that anything could happen on the planet would be through their okay, one way or another. And if a country or something happens that they want, or that they want the resources of a country, they just go in and wipe out the leadership and take over. That's been the way things have been so far, but that's not going to be true anymore, because
No, it's
energies
changing.
are
The young
changing.
people are changing that, and I
Yeah,
see it.
and
They are tired of that bullshit. They're like,
the way
"No."
that we are moving
Yeah.
consciously, because consciousness is really all there is. The way that we're moving consciously no longer supports that domination, control, murder, rape, murder, pillage, um, kind of mentality. And so the younger people coming in, because they're not consumerists and they're not into materialistic possessions kind of stuff, that whole mindset that supported these families all these years is going to die out, because the kids, for one thing, with the internet, we think about the internet and AI. I remember when the internet, when I first was coming up, and I was a programmer way back in the days when the first computers were created, and I remember hearing people talk about computers taking over jobs in the factories, and the computers were going to be the end of the world. Well, now computers are everywhere, and they've made life better. Then came the internet around the 2010s and what have you, and people were saying, "Oh, it's the superhighway, it's information, but it's going to allow more jobs to go away."
Mm,
Well, it didn't. It made more jobs. It
yeah.
also opened up opportunity for people to kind of start doing their own things and to get their hands on information that they couldn't otherwise have access to. AI is the newest phase of the internet energy, but AI and the internet are what's giving so many people the right to form their own companies and do business from home and not have to have a job. And that gives people freedom, and it gives people access to each other, where they don't have to believe everything the governments and the schools tell them. They can actually find out and connect and do what they want to do. So the technologies that we are embracing now are going to be the structure that supports the younger generations in the future. And they were born for these technologies. They're the only ones that understand it. They were born for this. So this is
Yeah.
what their world is, it's already being prepared for them to step into. And they are eager. I mean, they've created careers out of taking pictures.
Yeah,
And
mundane
a
stuff.
lot of them are
And we
wealthy
we
now.
we think it's mundane, but actually
It's built
it's
careers.
yeah.
They're free. They don't have to hold jobs. They can do what they want to do and making tons of money and traveling the planet. They're not stuck at home like we were.
Yeah, which
So,
is why I think like some of the elites are so angry right now and they're trying to change things up because they see that, oh my goodness, these kids are getting online and they just making millions of dollars doing,
and they don't need a
this stuff.
job.
They don't need a job. What's up with
You
that?
know, and when the reset
Kind of
happened,
changing things around here.
when the pandemic happened, it shut everybody down, sent everybody
Oh,
home, and people went home and said, "Wait a minute, I can do this on my own. I
yeah,
don't
like
need a
I
job."
don't need to be in the
They
office.
they can try to get people to come back to the office ever since, and a lot of people are saying, "No, I'm not doing it." So
Right.
they lost control when that reset was a chance for the planet to do exactly that, a chance for everybody to take a deep breath and start to see a new way of being,
A
and
new
that's
way
what
of being,
happened.
exactly. Because we were like, I'm just thinking of life before the pandemic hit. We were so fast. Like society was on a fast pace of. I think we were
Nowhere.
going to crash. To be honest
Yeah,
with
we
you.
were a fast place to nowhere.
Of crashing, yeah, and then all of a sudden it just stopped, and then I saw people come with some like innovative ideas on how to make money, how to be. They didn't want to spend their time in the office anymore. As you see, they even changed the way we approach corporate life. Like
Hmm.
if I can't work at home for your corporation, I'm not working at all. So
And I
now
can do my own
corporations have
thing and don't
opened the
need your
doors to
job.
like
You
remote
know,
work. Yeah. So
and what they're doing now in the country, firing all these people,
yeah,
they think, oh well, now that we've shown them who's boss, we've taken their jobs away. They'll find out again. A lot of those people are not coming back to the office. They're like, you treated me
never,
like shit, and you think that I'm gonna come kick
ever.
your ass again? No. Good.
Nope.
It's like good luck. I'm out of here.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
it's an adjustment period while people reevaluate and decide what they're going to do in the future.
Hmm.
But you are only, I heard a lady say this, she's a self-made woman. I was very admired her greatly. She's in her early 50s and she's like got hundreds of $1 million. She got lucky during the real estate boom, and she was able to capitalize it on ways that gave her tremendous wealth. She's never been married. She's got a couple of kids, but she said, "You are never safe or free until you control your own wealth." And she said, "And this is the time to create
We were
that
just
wealth
talking about
because,
that today.
huh?"
We were just talking about that today before the show, just a little
Yeah,
bit about
until
making
you
our own
are.
money, controlling your own wealth. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Mm,
you're not safe as long as somebody else can take something from you because you don't have the money. And
correct.
I understand, and it's like I'm totally there because I thought I had retired, and then the companies that I was contracting for took my contracts away and left me with nothing. And I have been struggling ever since to rebuild and to get back on track financially. Unfortunately, I'm coming out of the other end as I'm rebuilding my clientele and bringing in new clients. But it forced me to unretire and to step back into the workforce in a way that wasn't even available to me because companies don't want to hire me because they think I'm too old. And it's like, I'm in better shape than most of you guys are. What are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'm not
And
ready
come with
to.
a wealth of knowledge too.
Yeah, with the wisdom and knowledge that I've gained, and so I'm having to do it my own way. But of course, with the economy and people believing in the bad news of the economy, it's harder because people. It's harder for me to get my clients to come back. But I'm also doing things in a way that other people don't do things, and that is by using the spiritual knowledge and the tools and gifts that God gave me to do things that other people can't do. I do
Mhm.
my energy healing and work with clients in ways that other people can't do.
Right.
And so that's given me a way to step back in, but it's taking time, and it's not an easy transition. But again, because I can do that, I have more choice than waiting for a job at Walmart. Because Walmart won't hire me.
So
They
sad.
won't. I applied to them. They won't hire me. And I was like, I just need some money coming in so I can, keep building and paying some base bills and stuff. I applied for them 3 months ago, and they have my resume in their files. And every 30 days, they'll ask me, "Do you want to keep it active?" But they won't hire me, and the reason is because I've been an independent contractor for so long,
I
and
think
I
it's
don't
deeper
have
than that.
retail. They don't like. They feel like I'm not that. I'm not a good employee.
I think it's deeper than that because I see a lot of older people who once were like bosses and stuff. They work at Walmart for
I
a
know, and
second
that's
job.
the reason
But I
why.
feel like in your case, it's a little bit deeper. I think we are here to learn from you. I really do. And I've said that a ton of times,
Yeah,
and
but I gotta pay bills and learning. I love
that will
sharing my
come.
my information, and I
That
need
will you
money
think you
coming
have
in.
remember we talked about this. If you don't you have to trust that this world will always take care of you, Sister Sophia, and it
Oh yes,
will.
and it has, and I
It
I took
always will
pictures.
take care of you. You will
I've
never be
created
without.
some. I've created some incredible manifestations since all this changed. It's been challenging and very, very like taking me to the nth of my of what I know, but it's
Mhm.
also made me grow and stretch in ways that I never thought I could. And when I finally stopped being so upset and so nervous about my survival and took a look around at what I created, I thought, girl, you pretty bad bitch over there. You do some really great things,
Exactly.
and even though I'm still
Yeah.
in transition, when I look at
Mhm.
what I've created, I had to step back and say, change the way you see yourself, because you've done some amazing things and doing even more amazing things. And so now I'm in
Exactly.
the process of regaining my clientele and doing some wonderful things for them. I've gotten some healing abilities that I didn't know I had. So I'm being able to do healing and clearing and working with clients, and just amazing, even amazing myself at what God has blessed me with. And the position that I'm in. So
Yeah.
now my job is, of course, reaching out and getting clients to come in so I can help them. My
Yeah.
heart in service and in healing and in helping people put their lives together. So that's
Exactly.
what
Not
I'm
saying
about.
welcome to Walmart. How can I help you? Okay.
Well, the
Girl.
thing about it is, a girlfriend said to me the other day when I was talking about you're looking for a job, she said, "Don't put a question mark where God put a period." And at first, I didn't understand what she meant, and it took a
Mhm.
while. I'm like, what is it? What she was trying to say was, God put a period that you're not supposed to have a job. You're supposed to keep stepping into the service of being there to help people to heal,
Serving people.
clear.
Yeah.
She said, you're supposed to be in service to other people,
Service
and
of
you can't
people.
do that if you're working a job. You'll be right back in that same position.
Mhm.
So my job is to stay strong and focused until my clients come back, and they're
It's
starting to
tough,
come
and I
back.
know it's tough, but it
Yeah,
will
but
come.
I'm hanging in here because
It will come. You
it's,
just have
yeah, this
to
is what I
not
want to
give
do,
up.
and I'm
And I
damn
think that's
good
the
at what
part.
I
It's like
do.
the world, like the universe kind of tests you and to see if you're going to give up. To see, I remember, okay, when I did that Bianca White experiment where I changed my race to a white woman, okay,
Hmm.
I couldn't get jobs, blah, blah, blah. So I built my business. Now, my business at the beginning was not doing well. I used to come into my office every day. First of all, I made it my resolve to go into the office every day because I said, no matter what, I'm going to show up for this business. It better take off. But clients weren't calling in. And I'm like, what the fudge? I used to question myself. Why am I doing this? Am I stupid? Am I crazy? I'm losing everything. Everything is due. My son needs to eat.
I heard
It
that.
was crazy. But the point was, I never gave up. That's the thing. It actually was like year seven, when we started to make a comfortable profit in year number 7. And
Well,
I
I
know
ain't
that's a
that long.
long time. I know.
I'm going
Look,
into month 7, and it's got to start
but you're about
working.
to blow up. So
Oh
anywho,
yeah, and the thing about it
you
is,
just have to be patient.
all things considered, to go from where I was in May to where I
Hmm.
am now, it's
Right.
like
Yes.
lightning speed. Most people take a lot longer to recover and to get to where I
Years.
am now. Years, But
Years.
because of what I know and what I'm capable of, it's been like happening really fast, and I'm really grateful for that because
Hmm.
being able, like, I'm doing things and helping people in ways that I never thought I could. The
Yes,
the
Stephanie.
healing gifts and abilities that are surfacing in me, and I'm able to help people heal things that I'm like, wow, that worked. Oh, cool. I'm so glad. Thank you. Tell somebody. So, referrals are coming in.
Yeah.
Creating
See.
this romance dance program, it evolved itself about a week or so ago into a state that I didn't even see coming. We were
Hmm.
talking earlier about women being frustrated with love and giving up on love and feeling like I don't want to be bothered with trying to find a man. Well, the way this program now is working, um, you don't have to. And I think I mentioned on Facebook the other day that I did something special that kind of blew my own mind in the way that I did this extended meditation and connected with this person that I realized I actually had connected with about 7 or 8 years ago, but I
Oh
wasn't
wow.
into love. That you didn't read my post,
I did not see it. I'm sorry,
girl. I
Mama.
tell
I
you.
did not see it. I will read it
It's
when.
it's amazing what happened, and I did a presentation, and I did a special routine, a special meditation within it. And
Hmm.
Spirit, the next morning I got up and Spirit said, do this, do this, do this. And the whole front end of the program reorganized to where now I'm about to start guiding people on something we call quantum jumping experiences. And if you have never heard of quantum jumping, go look it up. The elite athletes, wealthy people, um,
The
politicians, they all
politicians, they
use
all
this
use it.
process of
Yep.
stepping into, we talked about these other lifetimes and what have you. There is a way to connect with the part of you, or the version of you who's already successful doing what you want, can teach you how to do it, how to get what you want and become what you want without having to go spend days and years in school.
Right,
This process
exactly.
was created by a
Can't
man
have
named
it
Bert
without all
Goldman.
that.
I
Yeah.
started doing it in 2011, but I've forgotten about it. But now, because it's come up like several times this last week, I'm doing it again. And boy, I think it's because of where we are in
Hmm.
this ascension process. It's incredibly powerful now. And so I'm starting to play with it, and I'm going to start showing other people, guiding other people how to do this in groups so that they can find a love partner, find a new job, figure out a new career or whatever. It's an amazing process.
Yeah.
So it's all about your vibrational frequency, and it goes back
Yeah.
to, if you're going to reincarnate, you do get to choose where and how that's going to happen moving forward, whether it's here on Earth or someplace else. You get to choose.
Correct. Correct. I'm loving this. Yeah. I know for certain, like when I look at my personal life and my sisters and my one brother that I grew up with, I know that we all came together collectively for a purpose.
Mhm.
When I look at them, they are the most loving, um, most beautiful people I've ever met in my life.
You're
And
so blessed.
sometimes, yeah, we quarrel and we, how siblings are and things like that. But what I said to them, I said, I will always keep a connection with you guys. I will never allow anything to kind of like break us apart because I just find them to be some fascinating human beings. We helped heal each other in a lot of instances, and we still help heal each other. And, so yeah, um, about to cry, but anywho.
That is such a special thing because I don't have family.
I ha I have beautiful siblings. I love
And
them. They is the most amazing people. But,
yeah, most of my family's gone. So when I see other people who have siblings or partners and they're in a good, loving relationship, I mean, nobody's going to be perfect all the time,
no one's
but the
perfect.
love between you that you share, as long as you honor and respect that love, it will always hold you together and be able to support one or two when they're in need and keep you going forward. So that is such a gift. You can't buy that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
Mm,
cherish it. I do not take it for granted. I do not.
good.
Yeah. So guys, Thank you for joining us today. It's been a great conversation. And just to close out, Sister Sophia, um, what, how do you think again we can stop incarnating on this planet? What are your thoughts?
Bottom
Before,
line is you got to change your vibrational frequency. Everything is about frequency, that vibe that you're sending out, that others are sending out. The planet and everything in creation is resonating in a sound frequency. In the beginning, there was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was spoken into the substance, the energy, and started a vibration that continues to this day. This vibration, based on its frequency, can create low vibrational frequencies or higher vibrational frequencies. If you don't want to be in a place, you've got to vibrate at a resonance higher than where that place was, because the law of the universe will draw you magnetically to whatever vibrational frequency you are resonating. So if you don't want to come back
low
to Earth,
polarity.
certainly not this version of Earth, you've
Hmm.
got to start working on raising your frequency. And we're talking things like feeling unconditional love, compassion, patience, tolerance, kindness, forgiveness, and being aware of how you are expressing the qualities of spirit, being aware of how you treat yourself and others, because whatever it is that you're thinking, your mind is going to create out here.
Correct. As I've said before, we are reflections of how we treat people. So
And
if you treat
yourself.
people like crap, you feel like crap inside. There's no way in hell you're going to wake up, go outside and start treating people like shit. If you don't feel that way inside, there's no way. And if you feel like love inside, you treat people with love. That's just the bottom line.
And
Bottom
forgiveness and
line.
compassion. Everybody's carrying stuff.
Yeah,
And sometimes, especially, we look at our leaders and see all the crap that they're doing in the name of God. And we think that, oh, well, the
you know
world's
that
going
ain't
to
right,
hell
y'all.
in a handbasket. Don't worry about those people. Worry about you,
Correct.
your vibration high, and eventually you notice that they get farther and farther away from you and out of your world, because it's like watching them in a movie, and eventually that movie will come to an end. But
Hmm.
whatever you create inside of your mind and in your life is what you're going to experience, because that's what you're creating. So if you
Correct.
don't want to come back to this planet the way it is, raise that vibrational
Raise the
frequency.
vibration.
And if
Yeah.
you don't know how to do it, call me.
That's right. Call her. I
I
will
can
also
help you
say,
fix that.
in my opinion, too, guys, I think that the more we hold on to things on this earth, the more we get weighed down by this earth. So that when it's that time for our soul to exit the earth, we will have a itching to come back if we do not let go of certain things on this earth that pulls us in. So, and that's also a way of changing our frequency too, just being a little bit more not so attached to this mundane world. That's
Yeah,
another thing.
I don't
People are
mind being
so
attached
attached.
to Earth, but I'd rather be in one of those beautiful cabins on a mountainside where there's crystal water and clear skies. I
Yes,
mean,
but
life is
okay,
reality
so say
there
for
too.
instance, you lose that cabin on the mountainside, good and well, it's just something that can be replaced. That's my
It
point.
can, but yeah,
It
but you're
can
gonna
be
have to be on
replaced.
some planet somewhere.
There's
And
some people
actually, I
who,
think I came from a warm planet with blue oceans and tropical breezes. So
the
I'm
reason why I say that,
working on.
Sister
That's
Sophia,
where
is
I'm
because
headed.
there are people who actually die because they are not, they don't have that material possession, or they're losing a material possession. Just recently a man unalived his wife and kids because he was in financial debt.
Yeah,
That's
see,
my
he's
point.
vibrating very low to think there was
Yeah,
no
so
solution.
so it kind of like what we're saying both goes hand in hand. But
Yeah,
at
but
the
if
end
he
of the
had
day,
not,
Sister
if
Sophia,
he
you're
hadn't
right,
looked at
raise
that
that
and said it
frequency.
was hopeless, he would have found a better solution to rebuild and create something better for them. He had the
Thank you.
choice.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
Because
had
when
the
you're on
choice.
that ledge where you feel like there's nothing else, I
And you
gotta
are
go.
vibrating way down
You
here,
are a fool, because
and God
at that
can't reach
point is
you.
where you can build bigger and better and
It's
just
always a choice. And remember, God
woo.
is high vibrational spiritual energy and frequency. And while God can feel your pain and your distress, God cannot reach you when you're down in the dirt with all of the low level crap.
Exactly.
It's like there's a barrier between you
It
and
will be a
spirit. And
barrier.
no matter how you pray, if you don't reach up and say, okay, I'm ready to grab on and raise myself up, spirit is like, come on, you're too far down. I can't get you.
Can't reach
I'm
you.
trying to reach you. You got to do your part because you are a God being and you get to decide what your experience will be because you are a divine creation
Our divine
of
being.
that magnificent creator. It said, I created you in my own image. It didn't say, I'm going to get down in the dirt with you. I created you with the power and the potential and the possibility, but you got to do your part because you are part of me. And
I
I gave
am.
you everything you need.
I am.
Yes, I am. I
I
am.
am.
I am. It's as you believe. So, yeah,
So
he
you
had a
are.
choice, and it's unfortunate he chose that one. But
Yeah. That's sad. Yeah.
yeah,
All right, guys. Well, thank you. I do want to tell the audience too to please love, self-love. I'm always going to promote that self-love, and
oh yeah,
also, be a little bit selfish with yourself. I hate to
yeah.
say that, but be a little bit selfish with yourself and just love on yourself before you can love anybody else. It's the best feeling in the world. You won't be
You
scared
gotta,
anymore.
you gotta do because if you love yourself truly, you will not misuse and abuse other people.
Yeah, you won't misuse, abuse other people, and you won't allow anybody to misuse and abuse you.
Exactly. So it's
Straight
all
up.
about love.
That's right.
All about love.
Well, thanks again, Sister Sophia. We are going to see you next week again. We're going to have a nice topic. Don't know the topic yet, sis, but we're going to come up with a good topic that we can discuss and present to the
Okay.
audience.
Okay. So next week we're off again. The 20. What's that? The 23rd, or are we gonna be on the 23rd?
I think we're going to be. It's up to. We'll discuss behind the scenes.
Okay. I'm available. I'll be celebrating my birthday next weekend. So
Oh, that's right. No,
yeah,
look.
next
Okay, I
Friday.
got something for us. I got something for us. I'll talk about it off the camera. But guys, thank
Okay.
you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. And we
Thank
will see
you
you
guys.
next
See you
week
next
on a
time.
recorded extraordinary woman.
It's so fun to be here with you guys. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sis. Have a great one.